Here's something nobody tells you when you hit that seven-figure mark in your 401k. That big number on your statement, the one that finally made you feel like you had made it, well, that number is not a paycheck. And the moment you retire and start pulling money out without a plan, well, you could be walking straight into the most dangerous financial trap in all of your retirement. I'm talking about a problem that quietly destroys retirement portfolios every single day. And it doesn't matter if you're a machinist or someone who spent 35 years on the floor building up a solid nest egg, or even a manager who maxed out contributions for decades and then watched that balance climb past $1 million. The trap is the same for both of you. And here's what makes it so dangerous. It's completely invisible when markets are good. You start withdrawing, the markets keep climbing, and everything feels fine. Then one bad year hits right at the wrong moment, and suddenly your whole plan unravels in ways that are really hard to recover from. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what this problem is and why it hits 401k millionaires especially hard, and the straightforward system designed to turn your balance into reliable retirement income without leaving your financial future up to chance. Let's start with a mindset shift that changes everything. For most of your working life, money worked in one direction. Your employer sent you a paycheck on a predictable schedule. You knew what was coming in. You planned your life around it. And the stock market's daily moves, that didn't affect whether your mortgage got paid that month or not. Retirement flips that entire system upside down. Suddenly, there is no more paycheck. There's just a pool of money sitting in accounts. And it's entirely up to you and the market to figure out how to make it last the next 25 or 30 years. According to Fidelity Investments, there are more Americans with 401k balances above $1 million more than we've ever seen before. And that's an incredible milestone. But here's the part that keeps financial advisors up at night. Most of those people have spent their entire working lives focused on growing that number, not on how to strategically spend it down without running out of money. Building wealth and distributing wealth are two completely different skill sets, and almost no one teaches you the second one. When you were accumulating, market downturns were actually your friend. A bad year in the market just meant you were buying more shares at a discount with every contribution. Time was on your side. But the second you retire and start making withdrawals, that dynamic completely reverses. Now a bad year in the market isn't just a paper loss. It forces you to sell shares at a depressed price to cover your living expenses. And those shares never get to participate in the recovery. That's the core of the problem. The hidden danger that can quietly drain your portfolio is a concept called sequence of returns risk. Here's the simplest way to understand it. Imagine two people, and let's call them Mark and Linda, and both retire with $1 million in their 401k, and both plan to withdraw $45,000 per year adjusted for inflation. Now, they both average the same long-term return over 25 years. The only difference is the order in which those returns show up. Mark gets hit with a 15% loss in his first year of retirement. Then markets recover and he enjoys strong returns for the rest of his retirement. Linda has the opposite experience. She gets the strong returns first and doesn't hit the same 15% decline until much later. Same average return, same withdrawal amount, but completely different outcomes. According to research from US Bank, a scenario like Linda's, where strong returns come first, well, that can sustain a portfolio for 40 years or more. But Mark's scenario, where the big loss hits early while he's making withdrawals, that can deplete the portfolio dramatically sooner. This isn't just theory. Capital Group published an analysis in January of 2026 using real S&P 500 data from 2000 through 2024, a period that started with the dot-com crash, showing that a $500,000 portfolio with regular 4% withdrawals experienced vastly different outcomes depending on whether you happen to retire at the start of a downturn versus a growth cycle. And here's why it's a gut punch for 401k millionaires specifically. The bigger your portfolio, the bigger the dollar amount you lose when that early downturn hits. A 15% decline on $500,000 hurts. A 15% decline on $1.2 million while you're pulling out $60,000 a year, well, that's a hole that's really hard to climb out of without making significant changes to your retirement lifestyle. Charles Schwab research reinforces this, showing that a portfolio experiencing a steep loss in years 1 and 2 of retirement is a fundamentally different position than a portfolio that doesn't get the same hit or the same decline until years 10 or 11, even when the actual return numbers are mathematically identical. The market doesn't care that you just retired. It doesn't care that you need that money to be there. And without a plan designed specifically for the withdrawal phase, you're exposed. Why do so many smart, financially responsible people still fall into the trap? Because the most natural, logical thing to do, just pull out what you need each month, well, that's actually one of the most dangerous strategies in retirement. New York Life Insurance research found that many retirees simply maintain the same withdrawal amounts regardless of what the market's doing. It feels disciplined. It feels like sticking to a plan. But mechanically pulling the same dollar amount of a declining portfolio year after year is like trying to drain a bathtub through a hole in the bottom while also leaving the faucet barely running. The level just keeps dropping. Now, another firm, Adams Brown Wealth Counsel, ran the numbers and found that even a small difference in the withdrawal approach creates a massive divergence over time. In their example, a retiree pulling 4% per year ended a 10-year period with about $97,000 remaining in their account, while a retiree who pulled just 2% ended the same period with over $120,000. That's a 23% difference in portfolio health, despite living through the exact same market conditions. The rate of withdrawal was the variable that mattered. But here's what makes this feel impossible for most people. You still have bills to pay. You can't just decide to withdraw less because the market is down. Your property taxes don't just hit pause because the S&P 500 dropped 18%. This is why having a structured income system, it's not optional, it's essential. And that system starts with one core idea: giving your money 2 separate jobs. Now, if you're watching this and wondering whether your current plan actually protects you from this, drop a comment below. I'd be happy to point you toward the right questions to ask. Most people enter retirement with a portfolio, but no clear system for turning that portfolio into dependable income. And that's the first problem we solve. Instead of treating your assets like one big pool to draw from, we assign each dollar a specific job based on what retirement actually requires. And the first job is simple: create reliable, repeatable income that shows up every single month, regardless of what the market's doing. This is your foundation, and it's designed to cover your essential lifestyle, your housing, your food, your core expenses, without relying on market performance, on timing, or guesswork. When this part is done correctly, your retirement no longer depends on whether the market is up or the market's down the next year. The second job is where opportunity lives. Once your income foundation is in place, the remaining assets are positioned for long-term growth. Now, this isn't money that you just depend on for the next year's income. It's money that stays invested, compounds over time, and gives us flexibility. And more importantly, it gives us the ability to create future income increases. When markets perform well, we don't just celebrate gains on paper. We harvest a portion of that growth and convert it into additional reliable income. So, in other words, we turn market performance into a pay raise. That's how retirement should work. Instead of hoping your withdrawals last, you're building a system where your income can actually increase over time. Here's a simple example. Let's say you retire with $1.4 million and you need $100,000 per year in income. The first step is determining how much of that income can be covered by reliable sources, Social Security, pensions, structured income strategies designed to produce consistent cash flow. Once that foundation is built, the remaining assets stay invested for growth. Over time, as markets rise, we selectively take gains and reposition them into additional income streams. Each time we do that, your income increases without increasing your risk exposure. This creates a very different retirement experience. You're not watching the market wondering if you'll need to cut spending. You're watching for opportunities to increase your income. That shift from uncertainty to control is what most people are actually looking for when they retire. Building income is only step one. The real advantage comes from how you manage the growth side of the portfolio over time. And this is where most retirement strategies fall short. They focus on withdrawals, not progression. Our approach is different. We're not just drawing income, we're looking for opportunities to increase it. The process is pretty straightforward. We review the portfolio regularly, typically once or twice a year, and then when markets have performed well and your growth assets have appreciated, we take a portion of those gains and convert them into additional reliable income. Think of it as locking in progress. Instead of letting gains fluctuate with the market, we turn them into something meaningful, something permanent, income you can count on for the rest of your life. If the markets are down, we simply don't make that move. Your income foundation, though, continues to do its job, covering your lifestyle without interruption, while your growth assets are given time to recover. There's no pressure to sell at the wrong time because your income isn't dependent on short-term market performance. Over time, this creates a pattern. Market growth, harvested gains, increased income. That's your retirement pay raise. There are a few key factors we always keep focused as we run this strategy. First is sustainability. Your income plan has to be built at a level your portfolio can support long term. And that often means starting with a disciplined withdrawal rate and supplementing it with reliable income sources. Second is tax efficiency. Where your income comes from matters just as much as how much you take. Coordinating withdrawals across taxable, tax-deferred, and tax-free accounts can significantly improve your net income over time. Third is inflation. Your cost of living will rise, which is exactly why the growth portion of the portfolio matters. It gives us the ability to increase income over time instead of falling behind. When all of this is working together, retirement stops feeling like a slow drawdown of assets. It becomes a structured income system, one that not only supports your lifestyle, but has the potential to improve it over time. I want to speak directly to something for just a moment because this conversation often gets framed as a wealthy people problem, and it's not. If you spent 30 or 35 years in a skilled trade, manufacturing, transportation, healthcare, or any other hands-on career, and you built up a solid 401k along the way, you're exactly the person who needs this system the most. And here's why. High income earners often have other financial buffers. Investment accounts outside of a retirement plan, equity in businesses, significant pension income. When something goes wrong, they have options. Blue-collar retirees who have been disciplined savers typically have one primary asset, and that's their 401k. That is the asset that needs to carry them for the next 25 or 30 years, and there's no fallback. And that means getting the withdrawal strategy right is not just nice to have. It's the difference between a retirement that holds together and one that starts coming apart in the worst possible way at the worst possible time. You don't need a complicated plan. You need the right plan, one that's designed to give you clear, separate jobs and helps protect you from the timing risk that could wipe out years of savings and systematically converts your accumulated wealth into the reliable income you actually need to live well. Here's the bottom line. A large 401k balance is a remarkable achievement, but a balance and a retirement income plan are two completely different things. The most common mistake I see is people arriving at retirement with a great number and no system for turning it into a paycheck. And that gap is where sequence of returns risk does its damage. The two-job system changes that. You give your short-term needs a reliable, protected source of income, and you let your long-term money grow and systematically refill that income source. You review it every year, adjust for taxes, inflation, and life changes as you go. If you're within 5 to 10 years of retirement or already there, and you don't have a written income plan that specifically addresses sequence of returns risk, now is the time to build one, not after the next market downturn. It's now. I work with retirees and pre-retirees on exactly this kind of planning. And if you want to talk through your specific situation and figure out whether your current plan actually protects you, click the link in the description to schedule a conversation. There's no pressure, no obligation, just a focused conversation about whether your retirement income plan is built for the phase of life you're actually entering. I'm here to help you get retirement ready.